Namaste everyone, Yoga Chris here. I'm at the rooftop at the W Hotel in Hollywood, California, and this is a video about free yoga. There's a lot of free yoga available on YouTube, millions of classes, or at least thousands, hundreds of thousands of classes, probably all kinds of videos everywhere. And what it is that you're learning is easy. It's easy to copy. If it's easy to copy, it's not very valuable. Think Walmart. Walmart's not very valuable. The products in Walmart as a business, it's a great business. Just like, donation yoga is a great business if you got on it soon enough, like Brian Kest. Yeah, that's a great business model. But there's not a lot of uniqueness. That stuff is easy to copy. Now, it's not necessarily easy to do a handstand, but it's easy to copy someone doing a handstand. What's hard to copy is what are they saying to themselves when they try to do a handstand? How do they respond to a failed attempt? How do they train when they're not doing a handstand? Yoga is off the mat. Yoga is 24 hours a day. It's not just the hour that you're stretching. The hour that you're stretching is supposed to prepare you for the rest, or to help you, to train you. And part of that training is actually a forgetting of all of the nonsense and a reconnecting with that which is important. There'll be some people around, so you'll hear other noises. And so free yoga, what is more valuable? Here's a technique. I'll give you a technique. Speak in a way that commands your own attention. When you speak in a way that commands your own attention, other people are likely to pay attention. Now, how is this yoga? You must understand the root of what it is that you're researching, what it is that you're studying. Yoga is not just union, fuck that. Yoga is yuk, is yudge. It is the carrying of your spirit to ever after. That is yoga. Yoga is what they call the occurrence of, I believe it's pronounced apotheosis. Forgive me if I say it wrong. Basically, what happens to the spirit upon dying on the battlefield. That's where yoga comes from. Yoga is maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years old, maybe older, but it was observed by people that were dying in war. And in those days, there was less conditioning of the mind. We go through 12 years of goddamn public schools, and most of that shit you're never going to need to recall, ever. It's just brainwashing. You don't need to know it. And to actually connect deeply with timeless, to connect with that force that has no fail, that is everywhere, that holds all together, you need to actually forget everything you ever learned. If only temporarily, just a temporary amnesia, temporary cleansing to reconnect with that. So, talking spawned from those earlier observations. It was understood that talking could unify minds, that words were kind of magic, that to control your own mind, which is a thing of itself, that's a projection from the self to solve problems, to survive in the world, it will grip on, your mind will latch on to anything that's around it. Go ahead, try to meditate, try to focus, try to do nothing, try to think of nothing, and notice how your mind will grab onto any little sound, any little sensation. A breeze comes by, all of a sudden you start thinking about the breeze, and then you start recalling all the times you ever felt a breeze, and then you start thinking about how you wish it wasn't so breezy. Like, your mind will just grab onto things around it. So you want to be able to control your mind if you want a high level of yoga experience. To control your mind, one of the easiest ways that the ancients discovered, that I use, that my teachers Arash and Vince use, is talking, communication. Listening is part of that too. Talking is a full body experience. It's a full body expression. Try to talk without moving your body. That's why you do the yoga postures, to free the body, to unblock the blockages, as they say. When you unblock all of the blockages, your body will start to move as you talk. This is yoga. When you unblock the blockages, you will listen to people. Sorry, I know I'm squinting, but the sun is like, maybe I could have chose a better spot. But when you unblock the blockages, listening is a full body experience. You listen with your eyes, you listen with your tongue, you listen with your body and your ears. And you learn this through Hatha yoga with a good teacher. I am a good teacher. And when you can listen well, and when you can speak well, you unify minds. And this is one of the most important forms of yoga in the modern world, because it seems like there's at least two routes to go. This is where I'll end it, this last point. You either leave the world and you go and find somewhere far away from people, and you can achieve a certain level of bliss if you don't go crazy doing those practices. You need a teacher to do that also, a teacher that does that. But if ever you need to interact with the world, or the world finds you and interacts with you, you won't have the skill set, because it is a skill. Communication is a skill. Dealing with people is a skill. A baby is not born knowing how to resolve conflict other than crying. This is the techniques of communication. Calm, meaning together. Union-ication, the verb. Communication is yoga. Union. Then the other route to go is to go into the world, to actually master the world. The complication with that is you may lose any connection to timelessness. You become of the world. Be in the world, as Vince Kelvin says, be in the world but not of the world. And to do that requires both practices actually. You need to be able to detach from the world, develop a deep connection and awareness of spirit, and be in the world and navigate it with the skill of a master. And both clarify the other, because inevitably there is self-talk in meditation. In your spiritual practices, like I said, what you say to yourself before a handstand, what you say to yourself before any yoga practice, what you say to yourself during the yoga practice is communication. And the elements of linguistics, of tone, of enunciation, pronunciation, so on, everything with linguistics is apparent, and it's unavoidable in ascetic practices. And in pragmatic or common practices, I don't want to say mundane, but in the world, materialistic practices, there is still an element of you're observing everything that's happening. You're on a date, you're observing the date. You're in a classroom, you're observing the teacher. You're observing your experience of everything that you're doing. There is an observer to it all, and that is spirit, or soul, or self, or Atman, or whatever name you want to call it. And so both elements clarify each other, and the aversion from both elements keeps you gray, keeps you in the middle, and it keeps you highly suggestible and relatively weak as a person. As a human, it is your responsibility to, as Frank White says, test your power and stay conscious upon death. There are no other goals that are senior to these two. To test your power, communication, and stay conscious at the moment of death. And this is my life ambition, this is my life work, this is what I teach. So free yoga, fuck free yoga. Here is free yoga. I just taught you something that no other YouTube phenom can teach you. Go ahead, try to seek out Yoga with Adrian, or seek yoga, Tim's Yoga, or fucking any Ashtanga teacher. Maybe in a couple hours they might hit on these key points, but this is heavy and free. So if you want the really juicy stuff, what you do is you go to ninthlimb.com and you sign up for my online training program. You get daily coaching. It's called the Silent Flute. It's $97 a month. It's worth $970 a month. And one day it'll be worth limitless. And that's the point. Bring the spirit and the mundane together. Yes, I charge for what I teach, because if I didn't, you wouldn't respect it. And if I didn't, it would be because it's easily copied. Those who don't charge, it's because their techniques are borrowed, stolen, or easily copied. I hope this affected you in a positive way. Definitely like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share the video if you think somebody would like it or it would help somebody, and I'll see you in the next one. Maybe even on the Silent Flute. Namaste.